Hey everyone, Warwick's here. Late night reaction video. It is almost midnight. I can't sleep, so I decided I was gonna go ahead and record Sunday Fun Day Reaction Day. This is gonna be the last video of Misty Mountains month. We're gonna be doing Geoff Castellucci's cover of Far Over the Misty Mountains. Now, this is a video that I've seen a ton. I love this version. It's one of my favorite, along with the Wellerman's version of Misty Mountains. So this is not going to be like a first time reaction. So I'm not just going to watch it through and go from there. We're just going to dive right in and do some of the kind of analysis of things that I think are neat in this video. Now, for those of you that are not aware of who I am and you're new to my channel, first off, thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it greatly. I am not a professional musician by any kind. I was a band kid in high school. I was in drumline. So I kind of consider myself like an intermediate. I'm not someone that has no idea what's going on, but I do know a little bit about like melodies and harmonies, but I'm not good with things like techniques, note identification, things like that, because I used sticks to beat a drum head for many years. So that's just kind of my background. I'm just a guy who loves this music. I've really enjoyed a cappella in particular. I've really fallen in love with it over the last couple of months, and I just wanted to kind of share like things that I think are cool about this, both musically, visually, and the video itself, things of that nature. So if you're interested in this stuff, definitely like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, the clout chasing things that everyone hates that creators do, but the statistics and the studies don't lie. If I tell you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, it helps. Something like 98% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. There's statistics in the analytics that I'm too lazy to go get right now. But like, if you watch these every Sunday, then they come out, or every week that they're out, just check to make sure that you're subscribed. If it costs you nothing, and you can set up to where you get notified about all of my videos every week, or you can just check to see in your sub feed about my videos, rather than having to like actively go out and search them. So enough of that. As that's YouTube creator nonsense that has to be done every video, it feels like. So let's dive right into Far Over the Misty Mountains Cold, low bass singer cover by the one, the only Geoff Castellucci. Turn this down just a smidge before playing it. All right, so we're gonna stop right there at the end of the intro. Nothing spectacular going on there musically. Like, this is a very common way to start this song, with just the basic hums, keeping it very simple so that the rest of the song can build. Now, a couple things that I think are neat. Number one, costume design. Obviously, these are fantastic. All four Geoffs looking different. It took me a while to figure out that these are actually four Geoffs. I thought they just brought in actors that made it look like he was singing, but then I realized that their nose is all the same, like a month ago. So, but what I like about the start of this is, of course, you have this Geoff doing the deep voice at the beginning, that right there. But what I like is when beardless Geoff sits down and he starts the the rest of the Geoffs join him in harmony, but not on the first note. It starts on like the third or fourth. Listen for it. Right there. So I think that's just a neat little way to arrange it. It's a little detail that like nerds like me catch, but most people, if they are not musically inclined or really paying attention to it, aren't gonna really notice it. So I think it's almost like a Easter egg, so to speak, for people like me that really pay attention to this type of stuff. So thank you, Geoff. Thank you for that. Listen to the intro again, and then we'll go into the first verse. Really like the camera angles they're using.
Far over the misty mountains. mountains cold to dungeons deep and caverns old. We must away and break of day to find our long forgotten gold.
I love that note. I love it. So good. So a few things I want to talk about in this first verse. From a visual standpoint, I really love how Geoff always makes it seem like, even though it's like you kind of assume, that like, look, he's not splitting himself into four. This is not D&D with like a spell that allows you to do that. He's, you know, obviously sat down and recorded four different parts and four different costumes for himself, and clever video editing took over from there. But what I like is that even though we kind of know how this is being done, what I always enjoy is that he always uses each individual version of himself to kind of like look and kind of nod and do little things that interact with each of his versions of himself. He does this in 16 Tons as well, which is one of my favorite videos from him, and favorite songs that he's covered. But he always does this in his videos, and I love it. It just adds it allows that what is called verisimilitude. The layman's way for that is willing suspension of belief. So it makes me as a viewer want to buy into the fact that he's actually sitting there with four versions of himself, kind of looking at each other, nodding, and they're actually just four people all sitting next to each other singing, even though we know that's not the case. But he makes me want to buy into that idea. So kind of watch it as he gets into, I think it's his first verse here, and then we'll skip forward again. Right there.
Misty Mountains cold.
He's looking at his friends and waiting for them to join in. And you can see Geoff on the left here. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it with my actual hands, but Geoff on the left here was looking over at Geoff on the right. This Geoff was kind of there, and of course this Geoff is super enamored with his dagger, which I think is just kind of a neat little character quirk. For the most part, this guy just spins his little dagger, and this Geoff just spins his dagger and is just very enamored by it, and I think it's really cool.
Heaven's old, we must away and break of day to find our long forgotten.
Get that note again.
The pines were roaring.
That little was very cool. Very nice touch. And he uses, of course, actual drums. Now, the thing about this song is that it needs something to feel like it's pushing itself forward. In most covers, you have something that's doing that. Like in Melinda's, it was like the change in tones, the change in adoptive styles, but you could tell she was very deliberate with her pacing throughout of it. Of course, Peter Holland's Tim Faust version had a little bit of background vocals that kind of helped drive it. The Wellerman version was just their big heavy chords that gave it there, and here Geoff is using actual instruments. None of those ways are bad. I like all of them, and I think they all add value in different ways. Apologies for the water.
Fire was red, it flaming spread, the trees like torch.
I love what the background Geoffs are doing here. They kind of went up on that harmony, but they opened up with that type of thing. Sorry about my throat, guys. I just got done recording a podcast episode that was 2.5 hours, and I wasn't expecting it, so apologies. But then they, as you can see here by this Geoff's movement, mouth movement, that they're back into ooze here. So they're kind of changing up the sound and the way that it's coming out of their mouth in the background, and it just adds a nice little bit of texture to the background song. So that background noise, so it just doesn't become repetitive and easily ignored.
Torches blazed
The signature Geoff smirk gets me every time.
with light.
So what I love about this section, not a single word has been said, but musically it's one of my favorite parts, for two reasons. And they're both, and actually it's for one reason, but two parts are doing this thing. I am a big sucker for call and response. I love the concept of call and response. I think it makes songs, like, you can't overuse it, of course, but that's true with any musical technique. But for some reason, something about call and response just really, like, hits me in the right place. I just love the idea of a call in like one octave, responses in different octaves, or musical phrasing. For example, the Super Mario Land, one of the major songs from that, does call and response inside that song. But like, I just love, the idea of call and response and how it can be utilized to add just good, like, textures, and allows for interesting ways to do the call and response. There's a number of ways you can do it. Here he's going with like just the basic deeps, and then the high guys come and do the response. I really like it. The other one that's doing an interesting form of call and response, it's a little bit different, is the violin in the background. So you hear it going doom, 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 doom. That's kind of like a call and response in a way. So you have the first pluck that's happening on the low Jeffs, and then dun, 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 it's happening on the high Jeffs. So the violin in the background, to me, in my interpretation, is that it's also supporting this call and response. So the low bass is doing the initial call, the dun or hey, and then the dun dun dun, hey, I'm here, that type of thing. That's how I'm feeling it. Let's go back and kind of listen to that for a second, and then we'll move forward. What was that low Geoff? Geoff on the left note coming in with that low. I'm assuming he still did it in chest. I don't think it was a subharmonic or anything like that, but just a beautiful little chord there that he did. Let's listen to that again real quick.
Shadows lurk.
Ah, dude, that's so clean, so clean. I don't know what note it is. Someone in the comments, please tell me. That's so I can figure it out and learn. Uh, but it comes out so clean and powerful. Like, it really does it well. I also really enjoy the harmonizing with the Geoff middle right. Obviously doing the highest part here, but nice little harmony section. I think they're an octave above each other, an octave above bass Geoff, or beardless Geoff. So just really nice. Let's listen to that, and then we'll hear that fat low note again before we move on.
Their shadows lurk. Be night or day, and dark things silent crept beneath.
Another little mini call and response section here, except a little bit reversed. Instead of with hums, he's actually doing it with lyrics, with the text of the song, which I think is very cool. This time, obviously, he is doing his part, and then the other three Jeffs are kind of restating the words that he's saying in a higher harmony. It's really beautiful. Again, I'm just a sucker for that stuff. I love call and response, as I've said many times. And here's another example of it. So after this fat note, we're gonna hear one more time.
Their shadows lurk.
Right here.
Night or day, and dark things silent.
So yeah. So right there, there's that little call and response right after the fat low note, where they repeat back the line in the higher harmonies. I love it. I just really enjoy that type of stuff. So good. Move on to the next verse here. Or great harmonies with the violin this time. I'm assuming that's Geoff on the left doing the low bass in that little section. I need to know how deep he goes, and I think that's in subharmonics. But my goodness, that is low, and I love it. Let's hear it one more time. We hear this little harmony between the other three Geoffs, and just listen to the Geoff on the left. I don't know if you can hear it through this recording of it, but if not, go to the original video on this. I'll be in the description, and go listen to this section and listen on good headphones and see like just how low this Geoff on the left is.
We called you hearth and home.
I think he goes subs, and then as he comes up a little bit, he's back in his chest voice. Like that's, ooh, beautiful. And the upper harmonies, of course, fantastic. Geoff really likes to focus on like vocal clarity, and it shows in this video. Like everything is just very clear, very like consistent. I think is the best way to describe it.
The wind may blow and rain may fall. We must away at break of day. Far over wood and mountains all.
Oh God, another call and response, so good. This time differently. Instead of beardless Geoff doing call, other Geoffs do the call, and Geoff does response in the main sort of line. And then of course we get some beautiful harmonies there at the end, and of course Geoff with some beautiful low. I'm assuming that's low chest notes. Let's listen to it one more time.
Mountains
Oh, I didn't go back far enough. Sorry. Call. Response. So he did something really interesting there, is that We Mossed Away by the high harmonies was the call. Geoff, We Mossed Away. And then he went At Break of Day, and then the high Geoffs did At Break of Day. So he did call and response in two different ways, except that it was, other Geoffs, beardless Geoff, other Geoffs. Still call and response, but when you put them back to back, it doesn't seem like it. But broken down into individual little sections, it is. So very, very nice. Really enjoy it. That's a nice little way to take the call and response idea and like twist it a little bit and keep it interesting, because it's been used now, 3 times in this song. You constantly use it, it can get boring, but he was able to use it for a third time, but make just enough of a twist that it added, like, it was almost unnoticeable, which I think is really cool. Unless you're like me and you notice call and response in any form or fashion because you love it. Let's go back so we can appreciate those notes. Oh, so nice.
We must away, we must away. We ride
So obviously ends on a banger low note. Just so good, so clean. I like this first one that he did with I guess it was Forgotten Gold. Like I like that one a little bit better than this one. They're both still better than anything I can hope to accomplish. So go there. But one thing I like leading into this low note is the sound again. Listen for it here.
Girl, take the
Listen for it.
break of day.
And the little last little harmony, I think, from the other three Jeffs. I like that little, and it stopped basically right as Geoff hit that super low note there. Um, but that covers this version, guys. Like this thing is phenomenal. I sing it in my car, on my way to work, on the way back from work, randomly throughout the day. Uh, if I'm working from home, I'm listening to it and singing it while not talking to the rest of my colleagues at work. I love this version. It's right up there with the Wellerman's version for me. I know that a lot of people have said that, that know that I'm doing this video, have said that they're looking forward to me doing this one. This thing is just stellar. And, I know that some other more technically astute creators that do reaction videos to this type of stuff have said that, like, the arrangement on this is super stellar. Like, it's like a really good example of very smart arranging and using a certain musical concept, in this case call and response, and finding different ways to keep it interesting. And of course, it's just Geoff with his super clear voice that is always tremendous to listen to. Whether it's this, whether it's 16 tons, whether it's any of the other covers that he's done, Big John, uh of course his Christmas stuff, God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, is another good one that I might do around Christmas time. So just stellar. This is so good. I recommend you watch it on your own. Definitely taking time to just close your eyes and soak it all in. You'll feel like you're in a tavern in Middle Earth. So just a fantastic job, Geoff. Thank you very much for making it for us, sir. Thank you for sharing it with the world, so that someone like me can take time to nerd out about it for 22 minutes or so. So that's the end of this video, guys. Next month, we start in August, is going to be Home Free Month. So a group that I've discovered mainly through the Sea Shanty medley, but have listened to a few other of their songs. But what I'm going to do for Home Free Month is I've got at least 2 or 3 songs that I've never heard. I've done my best to hold off on listening to them so we can get first time reactions. But next week is going to be another song that we've already gone through. I think my son, even though at 5 years of age, would kill me if I didn't do something on this, and that is the Sea Shanty medley. It's his favorite song in the world right now, so I will be doing that next Sunday on August 7th. And then we're going to dive into Man of Constant Sorrow after that. I think Mayday. They put out a new one, Remember the Music, and then we're also going to do The Gambler, which is one I have seen before. We could also do Ring of Fire. Like, I've got some songs in the middle of the month that I've got to choose from. I'm pretty spoiled for choice on Home Free. I kind of purposely have been avoiding a lot of their stuff because of, like, just trying to be first time reaction for it. And then in September, we're going to do voice play. So that's kind of what's coming up over the next 6 to 8 weeks. So until the next reaction, guys, hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all having fun listening to the music that you enjoy. And I will see you all in the next video.